Welcome to the Time for Heroes podcast.
I'm Kyle, and you're listening to Time for Heroes podcast.
Thank you very much. So I have Kyle and Tom of My Status Quo, or Francis and Rick, if you want to call them that. We're going to talk about the band's brief career so far, but what I like to do at the start, please, right back to the start, what was life like for you two boys growing up?
Want to go first, Tom?
Yeah, go on then. I grew up in Newton Hill. It's like a little village between Stonehaven and Aberdeen. I was quite lucky in the fact that because of my age, I grew up pre kind of internet. Really, so that when I was a child, I kind of just ran out and had to phone my mates' houses and things. So yeah, it was really good. We just played outside a lot. Yeah, it was a very happy childhood, I must say.
Mine was quite quiet. I'm an only child, so it was just me in the house and my parents and my dad's parents. Mm-hmm. So I was always brought up with the older generation, so that's kind of influenced in my personality, I would say. I was quite a troublemaker. Primary school, I would always be into bother, up to mischief and all that, and enjoying the attention. I remember I was quite fascinated with horror films, so I would always scare the teachers with masks and all that, and because I was right next to it, the primary school. So after school I would come home, wait for them to leave, and I would hide behind the salt bin or something. I could see them leaving the school, and I'd be like that. And then and then they would get a wee bit of a fright, so I quite enjoyed that.
Damn, that makes me sound so boring now. I need to think of something else. Come on.
So how early then did music come into your lives, and how did that kind of manifest itself?
Mine, I had a little yellow xylophone in like a plastic box. I remember I was so young, maybe like 2 or 3 or something. I remember I'd written on when you open the lid, there's like numbers. So like C would be 1 or D would be 2 or whatever. There's like 3 blind mice that had that written on the. I think Mum or Dad showed me that, and I wrote that on the thing. I just hit away the little kind of yellow xylophone. So I think that's like the first kind of music memory type thing I've got. What about you, Kyle?
I mean, I have been told when my mother was pregnant with me, they went to see Status Quo. Mm-hmm. At the start, every gig that they do, there's this drone that goes, and and apparently with the vibration, it caused me to jump up and down inside my mother. Mm-hmm. She missed half the concert because she had to go back and forth to the toilet, and because I kept jumping up and down. So that's probably, and I've seen photos of me with like a wee miniature guitar. Believe it or not, it was actually Rick Parfitt's miniature guitar that my dad got through the Status Quo fan club.
Nice.
And I must have been very small, and I was like holding on to it.
Uh-huh.
So there's that, and I had a flute, and that was the first kind of instrument I got. A wee mini acoustic guitar, and it just went from there. And my gran, she had this big piano in the house as well, so it was quite surrounded by music.
I remember my first guitar I'd got. It took me ages before. It was an electric guitar, and it was really cheap. Whatever it was, I can't remember. Legacy. But I hadn't discovered that it's got the overdrive button on the amp. So it was like, it must have been about a year or so. Just like, why doesn't this sound like rock? And I thought, oh, there's a button there. And I remember I tried to dress up as like hard as I could. I had these like, the wore Dad's like steel toe cap boots. And I'm sure there's a picture of me with these boots on with the guitar, trying to look as mean as possible. I remember that.
So at that young age then, obviously, like with yourself, Kyle, obviously your mum and dad were both heavy into Status Quo. What sort of music was influencing you? Was it Status Quo, obviously, but what else was kind of in the mix?
So a mixture of a lot of stuff from, my grandparents, so that they had a lot of Jim Reeves vinyls and the Corries. Mm-hmm. A lot of all that stuff. Little deeper cuts as well. Ivor Cutler, I don't know if you've heard of him. He's unusual chap, but this was years ago, and one of the songs was Sitting on the Grass, and he would thump somebody in the head. I don't know. It was a weird song. So a lot of things like that. Basic Rollers, varied selection.
What about yourself, Tom?
So Mum was more into like the 70s stuff. So her music would be like, oh, what's her name? Paul Simon. She liked, she still likes T-Rex, Elton John, all that kind of stuff. Dad's really old fashioned. He prefers like jazz, like classical stuff. Like he likes stuff from like the 30s dance music. So that was a thing apparently. So yeah, that's cool. And then, but for the Status Quo, really, I've got an older brother, Henry, but a massively older brother. I believe he actually saw Status Quo at Milton Keynes at the End of the Road tour in '86. Mm-hmm. But I think Dad had got him a Status Quo CD for his birthday. But it turned out he'd already got the CD, so it was just sitting in the car. Anytime like Dad would drive us to like rugby or like swimming or something, CD would be in the car, so we would just we'll just play that then. Kind of like drilled it in quite early. Actually, that was probably one of my favourite things. Like Rockin' All Over the World was on it. Oh, what was that other? Fold. They did a cover of Centerfold for some reason. I remember that. Maybe like my earliest Quo, I suppose, memories.
And so how did that kind of work at school, obviously? Because like when you're at school can be a cruel place at the best of times, but like your peers, when they found out you were into Status Quo, how did that kind of reaction go?
I got a heavy slagging, heavy slagging. But my thing just went off funny there. Aye, so it was not too bad in primary school. That was no bad. It was a few folk were kind of like, because even at World Book Day and all that, I would dress up as Francis Rossi because
that's incredible.
with obviously with their biographies and stuff like that. So I thought, that's a book. So
yeah.
I'll dress up like Francis Rossi. A lot of people were confused. Like, why are you wearing a waistcoat?
What happened to your collar?
Mind you, I didn't have a grandad collar at that point. It was just jeans. It was just jeans, white shirt, and trainers.
That's dead easy to do as well, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I can mind when I was young at the one Halloween at school, I dressed up as a snooker player. I piss easy, man. You just wear your uniform, stick a waistcoat on and take a cue.
Aye. See, I got mistaken for a snooker player, you know, that's but through high school it was a pain. A lot of it was I think because I was quite set in my ways. I wasn't one for following trends and all that, and you know, these people were like trying to be, mind you, there was a bit where I was trying to be cool and all that, but most of the time I was quite old fashioned and I couldn't be bothered. I was quite happy in my own company.
Rock and roll.
I see. Bit of a loner, but no. It was always slagging me. The people going, "Oh, Status Quo, you know, 3 chords," and it's like, oh, and people, "Oh, but that's not good music," and all that carry on, and you know, it's like, who are you going to find that are going to like Status Quo like you and all that?
You found the 3 other people.
I know. So it just shows you.
So then, obviously, with you being up kind of Aberdeen way, and you down here, so how did you meet?
We met at college. It was actually through our lecturer, and I'd worn a Status Quo t-shirt into college one day.
Stu Kid.
Stu Kid, yeah, Stuart Kid.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, Tom, I know a guy who likes Status Quo. You should speak to him." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." Yeah, I never really thought much of it. I never really took it on. And then got a message from Kyle, like, "Oh, do you like Status Quo as well?" And I think it took a wee while to get back to you as well.
He never replied back. So, and I thought, I need to see what this guy looks like. So then I done a wee bit of stalking research on Facebook, and I typed in his name, and I thought that must be him there because he's got a bass guitar, long blonde hair. I thought that must be him. So then I had that his face in my head. Aye, not in a creepy way, but and then one time I was at college. We were sitting in the waiting area bit, and then he walked by and he was looking for a guitar, I think. And I remember saying to him, I said, "You've got long blonde hair," and then so that's how I started.
There we go. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
Riverside Music College you were at?
Yep.
So what were you doing there? What was it, an HND or something?
Hi, so it was an Yeah, it was an HND, so it was the first
Yeah.
year I was in. I believe it was the HNC that. No, sorry, it was the second year that Kyle was in.
Aye.
When he was at college.
And what was that? And was that live performance? Was it production? Was it a bit of everything?
I was at, when I first joined, it's a long story. So originally, I was going to get a job, right? I thought, right, I want to get money and all that because I was in education for too long. I thought I need to get a job and all that. So then met this other guy when I was doing another course in Motherwell College.
Mm-hmm.
He then was a friend of mine at high school was in the same course he was at Motherwell College, and I was doing a cooking course, right? And this will come in handy for later on if you ask me about the question.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
So I done a cooking course, and then there was one time I was cooking up lunch and all that for other students. It was the part of my course. This guy came in, saw the guy from my high school. He said, "This is Jed." He says he's into Status Quo, blah blah blah. So then I thought, right, met up with him a few times. We were in a band and we left that, done a duet thing. He says, "Oh, I found this college, Riverside College." And he said, "All right." So then I was going to get a job, and I thought he bribed me because he says, "Oh, they've got this big massive recording studio and all that." So all right. And so I went there and went to the wrong one originally. I thought it was in the city centre.
You would think the river would be the Clyde.
Aye. So I went to the wrong one when I went for to see where it was. And then I realised, it's in Busby. I thought, that's a trek. I thought, I'm not gonna do this. I went for the interview. Got in. I thought, can we arsed in this journey? But I ended up doing it. I was doing the songwriting course, and then I moved to the teaching thing because then my current girlfriend was doing the teaching thing, so I was doing the songwriting. I thought I want to be in the same classes as her, so then I changed my course.
Nice.
So then so that's how I was in the teaching course, and so that was just like different stuff. Also, you get a live performance as well, and so that's kind of the story.
You sound like you're very easily led, Kyle.
That could be a good or a bad thing, I don't know.
But obviously, like the live performance comes in handy then, like learning live performance to forming a Status Quo band where there is a lot of performative actions within the music and a lot of kind of interactions with the fans. So did that help? Has that helped you? Have you noticed your confidence growing, like playing live?
What would you say, Tom?
I think it's made it easier, the fact that it's a tribute band, because you have to pretend to be somebody else, which kind of makes it easier. You could justify it in your mind that you're kind of getting away with it more. You know what I mean? Like, it's like how, I don't know, like Slipknot put on masks, or
Ghost.
What else do something? Ghost or Kiss or something. They've got like a stage persona that they put on. You know what I mean? So it kind of makes it kind of easier that way to get away with all the moves and that.
Yeah. See, because I've still got like a bit of me that wants to do like original stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
On the side kind of thing, but see, just to be able to do the Status Quo tribute band, it is quite a
good fun, is it?
You could say it's a dream come true, that cliche, you know, because when I used to come home from school, I would pretend I was Francis Ross. I would turn up the stereo, crank it up loud, and walk about the living room as if I was Francis Ross, and then people would look in the window and see me and go, "Strange boy in there."
It's just all with the eyebrows.
Because I wasn't fluent in the guitar at the time, so I was pretending I was playing. Because my dad done that a lot. Because my dad had a guitar, he never learned how to play it. He'd pretend he would play.
A guy off backstage playing it for him.
So when like you initially decided on forming the band, obviously being like a tribute band, because you get a lot of bands that will cover bands, but they'll no dress like the actual band. So was that a decision right away that you wanted to have the look, you wanted to?
I think it wasn't a matter of discussion. It was straight away.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a firm believer in a tribute band has to look as much as possible like the band you see, because a lot of people either never got the chance to see them or want to relive a time that they saw them, like especially for some of the older guys. And I think it just makes it more enjoyable for them. I think if you look the part as much as possible.
So starting out then gigging, looking through your social media, so the The first gig I've got is last May, the Battle of the Bands in Slouch, is that right?
Oh, aye, that was it.
So,
God, was that May? Wow.
so how was that then? How was the nerves playing your first gig as the band, and talk a bit about it, because obviously you ended up winning.
Aye.
I think it wasn't so much nerves really, because we picked the easiest possible songs to do, because like we don't have that long till this gig. So what is the easiest ones we've got? We just did them, so it was like, yeah. So it kind of cut the nerves down a bit. We didn't try anything too complicated.
No.
In the realm of Status Quo complicated, anyway.
It was. I can't actually remember that far back what I felt before. I remember like the sound was horrible. I couldn't get the right sound on the amplifier because it wasn't our equipment.
Oh yeah, it was just like house amps, was it, or was it a band that had taken theirs?
It was. Sure. I think it was. It might have been another band's actually.
Mm-hmm.
We just shared it.
I mean, it's always gig politics in it. See, when you're this band's going to bring this and this band's going to bring that, and there's always fights on WhatsApp groups about who's bringing what, and I'm not using that drum kit, I want my own drum kit.
The blooming drummers.
So for that gig, you then moved on to Sleazy's. So obviously your first couple of gigs, you're playing good venues as well. So it was Sleazy's, because the band I managed, that was their first gig in there. It's always good to play an iconic venue. Because
we had 45 minutes. Because it was through, I can't mind the promotion company now. It was can't mind now, but
I think the one that we used when we played there was Night Owl or something.
Right.
Seemed to be big with that.
I can see the logo, but I can't mind the name of it. But it was only 45 minutes we had. Which the people still say to me, like in the last gig, and when I go to see other tribute bands with Status Quo, that it's always the same. The bunch that come and see us, the die-hard fans, as this guy keeps saying, he laughs about it. He thinks it's quite funny because we've done the 45 minutes, but they wanted more. But we only rehearsed 45-minute worth, and then at that point we were like, I fell asleep. No, so it was 45 minutes we had to do the set, and then once we finished it, they were like, we need more, we want more. And we were like, no, but we've done, that's all we've got. And there's this guy keeps saying to me, he says that's hilarious how you lot just walked off stage after the 45 minutes. So that was funny, but that's what we were told, we could only get 45 minutes.
So and then you finished the year in December and Crossford, so a hometown gig for yourself, Kyle.
Yep.
So, how was that?
That was brilliant. I loved it.
Played there like twice before, and it was always like charity stuff I was doing, like fundraising for it, but it wasn't as publicised as much as it should be, right? So I was performing to like 7 to like 14 folk in the hall, but this time I made sure it was going to be well promoted. I paid for it. I put an ad in the local gazette, so I done that, and that was for about 4 weeks. So it was just a picture of us and just about where we were playing and all that, and me working in the village shop, which was another handy.
The excellent publicity.
Because every single person that would come in, I would say to them, I says, what are you doing on the 20th of December, by the way? And the woman that I was working with most of the time, she does the kitchen stuff. She was getting sick of my monologue every time that someone would come in. I would say the exact same thing. It depends what they look like. If they looked a wee bit dodgy or something, I wouldn't say to them. Wanted the right people to arrive, But so we got about 120 people that came, and it was like it was just about quite a full capacity, I think, real 120 people for it.
Just amazed how many people you knew in Crossford. And then, see, when we're ever there, we're walking past, oh look, there's Jimmy the gardener's van. Oh, look, there's an old big Bob the Bob the roofer. I don't know.
I think because that helped as well, because in the 50s my grandpa was a fruit grower here, so he knew everyone in the village, and also with my dad and uncles as well, staying in the village. But that's how the family name's quite well known in the village, I should say. And so people that come in at the village would either know someone in my family or know me or whatever. So that kind of helped as well because they kind of knew me and who I come from.
Obviously, with the band as well. So looking back on your social stuff, the original lineup, the before he is the bass player Drew. So he was, I think he was for Dumfries way. Is that correct?
Aye, so he was Annan.
Right, so is that the reason he left? Was it just getting too much?
No, well, he had student accommodation because he was at the same college, but he just wasn't learning the songs.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because I listened to some of your interviews on the Status Quo podcast, and I kind of got the impression that he was a bit far removed for the Status Quo kind of.
Aye, I kind of just asked. I knew he wouldn't stay. I just were looking for a bass player, because I know that his dad likes Status Quo. I thought he might do it for his dad, but he did help us out. But it was just becoming annoying, the fact that me and Tom had to teach him his parts and when to come in, that kind of thing.
So how did Logan come along? Where did you meet him?
Through TikTok, I think. He saw one of our videos and messaged me, but he claims that he was drunk when he did it. Because he was nervous to. I don't know why, because we're just a pair of tubes anyway, so I don't know why he'd be nervous. But he said, "You looking for a keyboard player?" I said, "We're actually looking for a bass player, but if you can play bass as well, that'd be." That's how he's.
It's tough to do both.
I know. So that's how he's now the bass player.
When I seen him in Garwood's, there was a guy come in before the start of the gig, and he was quizzing him. He was like giving him like a proper quizzing on Status Quo, and I thought that must be tough. You must get that a lot for like all these older guys that are big fans. But he seemed to hold up well, and then as I looked round throughout the night, this guy that was a big Status Quo fan, he wasn't in the room. He never stayed for the gig, and I thought
he just came for the interrogation.
That was the wee guy, wasn't it?
No him. That was the wee drunk guy. Aye, no. I could see you were kind of relieved when he exited.
I couldn't work out.
A pain in the arse.
I couldn't.
He was very enthusiastic, I must say.
But I couldn't hear what he was saying.
So obviously you played Garwood's twice this year. Obviously, as talking off mic to Kyle before you came on, Tom, and if you're not aware of Garwood's, it's probably the best pub I know in Lanarkshire for music. It's always had that reputation for the music.
I got that impression when I was there. Like, everyone who goes seems to like regularly go to see the bands or whatever bands are on.
I mean, like the fact that you've been asked back there says a lot. The fan base at that gig, because, like, spoiler, my missus says to me the day of the gig, my son's band are playing in Garwood's. I told her we might come along and support, and I says, well, if you want to go, we'll go up for an hour, see how it is, blah blah blah. So we're walking up to Garwood's, and she says, "Oh, I forgot to tell you they're a Status Quo tribute band."
To get you as close as possible.
And I thought,
I'm taking the train now.
I'm not sure about it. I says, "We'll give it a try." And honest to God, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I says, we'll stay for an hour, and then we'll show face when we'll go home again. I couldn't believe it. I loved it. It's one of the best nights out of my
cheers,
life, man. And as I says to you, man, obviously it's no that I'm against Status Quo. My dad was a Status Quo fan, and I don't get on with my dad, so I think there was that preconception of, right, they must be shit if he likes them. But I like, on top of the music, just like looking around the room at the other fans and how much they were enjoying it. Roddy air guitar and all that. And no just basic air guitar, they were playing the notes, you could see them go down the fretboard. They were proper intricate guitar moves. So, how is that? How do you get on with that fan base? You touched on it that a lot of these guys come to all your gigs.
I think there's about 4 of them, 4 or 5 that have been to since Sleazy's, I think.
Right.
So there's Geordie. See if I remember Geordie and George,
And then
and then
there's
Keith had came along from for the first Gerwoods, and he was back for the second Gerwoods.
and he's
Is he? Oh yes. I'll need to take him some Rowies from Aberdeen because he brought us a box of tablet. He brought us a box of homemade homemade both of these things. I think it's just because he's just so excited to see a younger band playing Status Quo. I think it must be. I think it's his favorite favorite music. It's brilliant.
I seen those boxes of shortbread sitting there on the table that night. I thought
They didn't last long. That shortbread did not last long.
I thought that was your mum that made them, Kyle.
No, she does do a good what was it called, chocolate magic cake. She's good at that.
No.
So, I mean, we'll get to that bit in a bit. But obviously, we touched on the fan base, but the other thing I wanted to talk about, in between those two Gerwoods gigs, you played, obviously there's quite a few Status Quo tribute bands, but I've seen, Kyle, that you played with Glasgow.
Traitor.
I think it was in McSorley's, was that?
That's right, yeah.
And for what I've seen as well, obviously you weren't the front and centre. There was another boy already had the waistcoat on. So for what I could see, you were doing the Rick Parfitt role. So how does that kind of differ for your role in your band? How hard was it to kind of make that bridge?
To be fair, halfway through the set, Graham's fingers were getting sore, so he said to me, "Can you do the solos?" So then ended up doing the solos for the majority of the end. I've always, I think, starting out,
much tougher being Rick.
When I was starting out guitar, the first thing I learned was Rick's intro for Caroline, and that was when I was about 10, and that's how I've kind of managed to kind of do the good muscle memory in the left hand with the constantly on that position for about 2 hours. Froze there, get back. There's Little Lady, right? There's that, but I know Rick does something different, which I didn't have time to work it out. So there is, Rick's parts are underrated, I must say. It is.
I think they're more tiring than anything else. It's more like your parts have got all the skill. I think my parts just require more just physical endurance, I suppose. That's the hard part about the Rick anyway, is the endurance side. Because my thumb gets knackered really. If I don't warm up my hand properly, I'm screwed. I'll be dropping the pick. I'll be dropping the pick, or the other one of the Gerwoods that dropped it, and I'll just have to play with my finger. Shit.
So what did you think when you seen him doing this Rick Parfitt stuff? Was your nose put out of joint?
Well, I saw Kyle do it.
Yeah.
No, not at all. I was sitting there judging him completely. That's how he's doing it, is it?
So and that leads us up to this Friday. So we're recording Wednesday. Is it Friday or Saturday? Saturday, is it March the 21st? So Saturday, March the 21st, you're playing the Railway Tavern in Motherwell. Another good pub, always busy, so brilliant kind of clientele in there. I think it's going to go down a treat. Obviously, I wanted to record this and get the episode out just in case there's anybody that happens to stumble across the podcast. Get yourself down to the Railway Tavern in Motherwell this Saturday for My Status Is Quo. And obviously, before we go into kind of heroes and things like that, I just thought we should really touch on, obviously, talking about Status Quo. Just some things that are looking up on the band. Obviously, over 60 hits, more than any other band, including Pictures of Matchstick Men, Caroline, whatever you want, Down Down, all these rocking all over the world. They're all the songs that I know. All the other stuff that you were playing at Gerwoods that I didn't know, that that I really enjoyed. 100 singles, 33 albums, the 10th best-selling group of all time in the UK singles charts, more than 500 weeks in the UK singles charts, and obviously opened Live Aid. For everybody that wants to fucking slag off Status Quo or whatever, man, there's the facts there, man.
Right.
They're built into the UK British music scene, so I just thought we better, rather than just touch on my status is quo, let's just give the band that you're giving a tribute, let's just give them a wee nod.
Aye. Yep, definitely.
So, other than the Railway Tavern gig, is there anything else coming up for you after?
Well, there's on the 15th of August, we're doing there's a thing called Livestock in Lanark.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like a festival type thing where it's like different. As far as I know, I could be wrong, but it could be.
It could actually be a farming
It could
thing
just
where
be-
they're selling-
As far as I know, I think it's like a bunch of bands playing in various pubs in Lanark.
Mhm.
I think.
So that sounds good. So like a wee festival. So I'll keep tabs on that, because if I'm not making this tavern gig, then this might be the next chance I get to see you. And like obviously as well as that, Kyle, you touched on kind of an inkling today, like your own original stuff. Is there any kind of movement on that?
Actually, I've got an email through the day. So there's this thing called Rockathon, and it's like a 30-something hour live stream, and it's for like acoustic stuff and all that, and it's just basically like, you do a few tracks, and then you do like a talking thing to their CEO or something, and then you play another few tracks, and there's a ticketed event as well. So that's I've managed to get like a slot booked in at 3 o'clock on the 1st of May. Like original stuff.
Right.
I'd like to hear some of
that
that.
sounds good, man.
I've never heard any of your stuff before.
Some of it's actually played on piano, so I need to actually see how I would get a piano there, but because I've been Logan, he's got recording stuff at his flat, and the way things are right now, I can't afford to actually record things in a proper recording studio, so it's just like to record demos really. And then give them to a recording studio, and then so they know what I'm kind of looking for. That kind of thing. That's the kind of thing going.
Yeah. So well, all the best with that then, with the solo career. And I mean, like, is there ever any thought of doing like the Francis Rossi solo stuff? Would that kind of interest you, doing like a tribute to that?
No, I don't know, because he talks about his life, really, didn't it? His talking shows.
Well, I mean, you could use this podcast for a bit of kind of inspiration. You could do that, and you could talk about the Crossford gig and
Aye.
two Garwood shows and all. You could do that. You could talk about that.
I'll see how. Aye, it's a long, because I've always wanted to, get somewhere with my original stuff. Because I was listening to a Bon Jovi interview, and he was saying that he was in a cover band, and then he said that you could only go so far in a cover band or whatever. That's when he started writing his own material and stuff like that. So there's that inclination as well going on, but still obviously continue with the Quo band.
Yeah, I don't. Well, there's so much scope though with the Quo stuff as well. I mean, like, Edinburgh's a big market as well for the kind of the cover bands. That's something that you might want to look at as well. I know my pal for work, he was in like a rock cover band, and that's where they were based in Edinburgh, and he was gigging every weekend. Anyway, obviously the podcast called Time for Heroes. The last part of the podcast, I asked my guest to pick 4 heroes to come for dinner. Why are they your heroes, and what would you cook for them? Any heroes you want, any walk of life, musicians, sports people, family, whoever you consider heroes. Dead or alive as well, in case you want to resurrect anyone.
So,
But I just fire away.
okay, so I would pick from a meal But I have to invite, right? And I'm going to invite Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter. You could maybe bring some crocodile with him for the meal. I'd take also Rick Parfitt, obviously. I think I'd resurrect Rick Parfitt. Now, I'm not a Christian man by any means, but I reckon I might invite Jesus just to see if he did exist, to see what his, have Jesus, and I reckon he'd be a very wise man. He could make a lot of wine from my tap water, and then I would maybe take Grandpa as well. He died a few years ago, and he was a drummer also, so it'd be quite good to have him there as well. That's my squad for the meal.
The thing with Jesus is he's actually picked on this more than you would think.
Aye.
He's quite a regular pick.
Seems like quite a chill guy, I suppose to have.
Yeah. Yeah, well, especially in this day and age, you could do with some more chilled out folk.
Aye. What are you cooking
Oh,
for?
what am I cooking? So, for a starter, I think I'd have a pie platter. So I would get like a selection of pies and then cut them in half and then put like the filling facing up, and like you'd have a big selection. So you'd have like steak, you'd have macaroni, you'd have like mince. It's all the pies, so a big pie platter. I reckon. And then for the main course, I reckon a haggis, neeps and tatties. Cook a nice traditional haggis, neeps and tatties. Just because I'm not very good at cooking, it's quite easy to just bung in the oven, boil some mash, and I still haven't really thought about dessert. Maybe something, I don't know.
I'm putting him under pressure. So what about yourself then, Kyle?
Well, I've got to say Francis Rossi, I would think. You get Francis Rossi there. Rob Brydon for the jokes. All the impersonations that he does.
He's a guy I've been desperate to get on the podcast as well. I've had his brother on the podcast. I'm quite pal with his brother.
All right.
So I mean I could maybe hook you up
There you go. You hook me up with Jesus.
There's a guy I watch on YouTube called Bald Foodie Guy, right? And he does a lot of food from supermarkets and all that, and he does his own opinions on if it's your money's worth and that kind of thing. I've been watching him for a wee while now, and he's quite funny. So he'll be testing my food.
Very first time Bald Foodie Guy's been picked on the podcast.
So there was him, Mel Gibson.
Nice.
Right.
I was obviously, when I was younger, before I wanted to be a musician, I wanted to be an actor, because he inspired me through Lethal Weapon and Braveheart and all that. So definitely Mel Gibson. And finally, Robert Burns.
Right.
I thought I'd go for Robert Burns. Good.
So Robert Burns is a great show.
Robert Burns.
I'd love to have a chat with him.
Aye. Definitely. I like watching all the documentaries about him and all that. And aye. So have him. Cooking wise, I think I'll go for.
This is going to be like Michelin star sort of stuff, innit? I've been looking forward to this.
So you've got, for starter, duck patty.
Oh, duck
on
patty.
Scottish oatcakes. Duck patty with duck liver patty. And then you've got like a wee salad dressing on the side with like balsamic vinegar and something like that. Main course, I think I was going to go for haggis, neeps and tatties, but I was speaking to it earlier. But I think I might go for like a seafood platter with like mussels and langoustines and all that, with risotto rice and a mushroom risotto rice with white wine jus. Dessert, I can just have like an apple crumble or something, apple crumble and custard.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with stuff like that.
No.
Yeah, that all sounds amazing. The thing that I'm most worried about with that, actually, Tom, see that pie platter? I'm just thinking about the heartburn that would give me.
It'd be a very substantial meal. You get their money's worth. I know what I'll have, actually.
Absolute pleasure speaking to you
my
today.
dessert, sorry. Gaviscon ice cream.
All right, sorry. As I say, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. It was an absolute pleasure seeing you in Girwood the other week.
Sure, thank you, Mark.
Obviously, if I can get to the tavern this Saturday, I'll try. But if not, for anybody else listening, make sure you get there, because really, really good night. As I say, one of the best nights I've had in a long time. So all the best with the Tavern, and then whatever comes after that, man. But aye, for coming on the podcast today, boys, it's been an
Thank you very
absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys. Thanks again for listening to the podcast. If you'd like to get in touch, please contact me on the email timeforheroespod@gmail.com, or you can get me on Instagram at timeforheroespodcast. Thanks very much. We'll be back soon with another episode.